On today's episode of The Unwritten Rule, we've got the Bama recap for you. Not too much to really take away from a game like that with Brady Cook getting injured, but we did, talk about the whole game, talk about what we saw from the running game, what Mizzou tried to get established on offense. Touched on that a little bit, talked about the defense, some things we actually liked on that side of the ball and some individual players we thought came away individually looking, solid and pretty good, especially in the beginning of the game. So talked about what we liked on defense and why, it kind of started to roll over after a little bit, but, mostly focused on that and, what Mizzou really couldn't get going and was lacking, particularly at the quarterback position. Talked a little bit about the drink stuff. Didn't focus on that too much just because it ended up being a moot point with how the game went. Then we kind of segued that into, sort of a what if discussion if Brady Cook is inevitably done for the year and what we kind of want Mizzou to do potentially in a bowl game situation at quarterback and giving a certain Aiden Glover a chance, later on down the season potentially. And that's where the conversation really, went to as we kind of continued on. So it was, a good chat, still a good recap and a good kind of look ahead maybe at how the expectations for the season are going to change now after some more possible injury weirdness and another blowout that all but assures Mizzou is not going anywhere CFP wise this year. So it was a good recap for a not good game, as best as we could. And then finished off with quick hits, had some Tigers in the Wild. Did talk about the exhibition game with Mizzou and Lincoln. So stay tuned for that. Talked about that at the end of the show as well and who kind of stood out there. As we inch closer to basketball season coming up in, a few weeks, November 4th. So yeah, plenty to dive into and discuss and for you guys to enjoy as you get into the bye week and can settle into a Mizzou football free weekend here. So should have a good show on Friday as well with a potential guest. So good tease for next show, but enjoy this one. In the meantime, won't dilly-dally any longer. The Unwritten Rule starts right now.
Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Payton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to the Unwritten Rule. Today is Monday, October 28th, and Missouri has gone a game without scoring a point. The Tigers will not have a chance to score another touchdown in the month of October because they're on bye, and they put up a goose egg. In Tuscaloosa, Alabama, man, this is going to be some game to recap. Alabama 34, Missouri 0 from T-Town. All of our score predictions were wrong, but we all picked Alabama to win. So, I guess we can't say we didn't see it necessarily coming. I technically had the best one, saying 42-17 in favor of the Crimson Tide. Man, this was an ugly, ugly game that turned ugly pretty quickly. Brady Cook did play. Obviously, that's kind of the biggest thing with Mizzou. And then only threw 12 passes before he eventually left. And now he has a new injury, which I guess we could probably get to maybe at the end. But then got yanked, and it just kind of went to shit from there pretty quick. And Mizzou gets blown out and drops its second game of the season. Payton, I'll start with you. Ugly watch, not a fun game to digest. And I liked your take that you shared in a group chat with some of our friends off air about sort of hard to take away too much from a game like this when you are this banged up, and kind of look this bad as a direct result of that.
Yeah, I mean, the season is over now. They're not going to be able to climb out of that one and make the playoffs, most certainly. But I don't know. I don't come out of this game with a whole lot of hot takes that I know a lot of people wanted to. They had maybe a 60 to 75% Brady Cook out there. It didn't look good when he was in, and once he was out, I mean, there was just no chance for them. Drew Pine is just not an FBS player. He's quite frankly a joke to watch him out there. He was truly dreadful in every aspect. I've never seen a quarterback with such little arm strength. but at least he makes up for it by being short and not fast. So he's got a lot going for him as we head into the back half of the SEC schedule here. Everyone knew once Brady Cook was out, the game was pretty much over. I thought the defense came out and played pretty hard. I don't agree with the assessment that Bama was kind of just shooting themselves in the foot. I thought the defense was playing well. The DBs in particular played way above their head in the first half. I think, their best game. Quite frankly, I thought Toriano Pride, until the second half, really, his first half was easily his best half of football. As a Missouri Tiger, Nick DeLoach was the top graded player for Mizzou's defense, and he earned that as well, I think. But I mean, you could see it. I mean, once Brady Cook went down, Drew Pine on his first pass attempt throws an awful pick that then Missouri's defense just kind of rolls over. The coaches clearly had no faith in Drew Pine. I mean, they got the ball back down 13-0 with all 3 timeouts, and they ran the clock out and settled for a 59-yard field goal attempt at the end of the half. So it just, without Brady Cook, this team is pretty much just floating dead stick now. I don't really think in the second half in particular, when the game really kind of got out of hand, I think it's a little disingenuous to think that the defense would have played that poorly if they thought they had a chance to win in that one. I really think it was a case of everyone watched Drew Pine enter the game and just knew their chances were kind of done for. That's kind of where I sit. It'll depend solely on Brady Cook's health going forward to kind of gauge what I think the end of the season will look like. If they get Brady Cook back, I think they can still win 9 or 10 games. If it's Drew Pine, I will pick Missouri to lose out. This team is just so much worse without Brady Cook. Not that the offense was lighting it up before with Brady Cook, but I mean, it's just, it's staggering, the drop off between him and the backups.
I think a spot I wanted to go to, kind of just spinning off of that, and there's some things we can talk about this game, but there's not too many takeaways we can just bore people to death about after wanting to recap this one. But something I want to talk about is that quarterback development. You got a guy like Brady Cook these last couple seasons from 2022 to 2024 that's been your primary starter. I mean, it's opportunities in 2022 for guys to step up and possibly take his job. But I mean, he was playing through a shoulder injury then, proved himself last year. He's been banged up this year. He's taken the criticism, but we just haven't seen much development behind him. I know you lose a guy in Sam Horn to a baseball injury, to Tommy John surgery for this season. You missed on Tyler Macon. You lose Gabari Johnson to the transfer portal. Then you kind of try to lean on a guy who's short for his size, someone who didn't really work out at Notre Dame, didn't work out at Arizona State. Maybe there's reasons that Drew Pine wasn't working out. They talked about, he has to knock some rust off when he comes in these games. He just wasn't getting better throughout the snaps. Like, there was no development. There was no getting used to it, getting back into the groove at all. And maybe that's, a hard thing to do for a quarterback, especially when you're coming into the situation. But you have to know after last game, after this past week, that there's going to be an opportunity to play out there. There's just nothing there right now. So I'm definitely in the same boat as Payton, kind of moving forward. If Brady Cook's out for the season, if he's going to continue to be injured for the remainder of the year, I just don't really have too much faith in this team. And the guy that's, I mentioned this to Payton, is Aiden Glover, who is the quarterback that they got in this past cycle. I don't even think he traveled with the team. I saw a lot of tweets about the quarterbacks that were on the sidelines, and a lot of the guys were walk-ons. You saw a walk-on play in this game, like a walk-on grad transfer. That's just kind of where the back end of the quarterback room is right now.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020, but it's like maybe you tell your 4-star recruit from 2 cycles ago to pick one and stick with it. Obviously, you're not expecting that injury, but that kind of stunk. I mean, I agree with you guys on the quarterback takes. We can circle back on it. I'll ask you both about this. Payton, you mentioned at the beginning, it didn't look great even when Brady was out there, and I think it was largely, obviously because it was only 60 to 75% of him, like you said. But what did you think about how Missouri maybe started the game, and then in general too with the run game? I mean, Marcus Carroll, 17 carries for 80 yards. He averaged almost 5 yards a carry. Not horrible, and obviously you were without Nate Noel, but that I just remember, pregame we were talking about that, especially with Brady hurt. maybe getting that run game going, have those long sustained drives to try and just keep Alabama's defense out on the field, tire them out. Instead, Alabama or Mizzou went 3 and out in its first 2 drives. Fun fact, Alabama, that's the first time it's done that against an opposing offense since I think week 2 of the season, back-to-back 3 and outs. So not great there. But what'd you maybe make of the start and some of the moments that when Brady was out there, when they were trying to maybe get something established and it just like never came off, whether it was run or pass?
Yeah, I mean, there just wasn't much working for them. I mean, they were able to get like a few yards a pop early in the game, but there was never like a big explosive play, like run that they kind of needed, I think. There were a few funky moments of play calling. I know Mizzou went runs on the first 4 plays of a drive and picked up a first down and 3 yards, and then on like 2nd and 7, they chucked 2 deep balls on 2nd and 3rd down. I didn't like that bit of play calling. Again, I don't know if those were the reads, the like primary reads, like, or just Brady Cook liked what he saw and took a shot. But either way, it just wasn't really clicking when Brady was in. It wasn't sinking them because, again, they weren't turning the ball over, and I mean they were getting to midfield a good amount of times. I would say the game went about as well as you could probably have hoped for Missouri in regards to field position game. They were winning the field position battle. They had the ball a lot more. The defense played really well in the first half. It was just a matter of the offense kind of didn't hold up its end of the bargain. And how would it have looked if Brady Cook was more healthy? I don't know. I would think they would have probably at least scored on one of those drives. Maybe not a touchdown, but you maybe come away with 3 points. I still don't think they probably come away with a win if Brady Cook is 100% healthy, but it definitely would have been a much different game. It certainly wouldn't have been a 34-0 shutout. But yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of funky play calling. The run game was like mostly efficient, but like it wasn't explosive, so they couldn't rely 100% on it. And then I mean, a big thing this season has just been the receiving room has just not been what I think we hoped for. I mean, guys it seems like Luther Burden is never open downfield. Theo Weiss's game is kind of predicated on winning 50-50 balls, and a lot of the times he's not getting good enough 50-50 balls like to really that it turns it more into like a 25-75 ball at best. It's kind of been the story of the season. And now it probably, if Brady Cook is out for the year, I mean, it's just kind of a moot point now. I think I don't think there's much else to really take away from it.
Almost kind of, if this season kind of goes out in a way that it did in 2019, almost like it did different circumstances, different like expectations for this team. But that team in 2019 got to the midway point of the year, was looking good, and then kind of lost out, had some quarterback injuries as well. I just kind of feels like, had all these expectations, higher ones than then at least. But now it's like, without a quarterback, all this star-studded deep wide receiver room we've been talking about heading into the season, and after the past 12 months, it just feels like there's just not going to be anything moving forward either. One thing I just wanted to note on the offense, I do like the play of Jamal Roberts recently. We've seen him a lot in pass protection, but he had 17 carries for 71 yards in this game and a 10-yard reception. I think that's a good thing kind of moving forward. I do think that they'll take a shot at someone in the transfer portal again, just to get some experience. But I do like what they're seeing from him in these past couple games.
What'd you guys think of the flea flicker on like the second play of the game? Meant to throw that in there.
I dug it. Drinkwtiz said they were going to cut loose. I like kind of being aggressive there. I don't even remember what happened on it. I don't remember where the throw went, and I know it was incomplete, obviously, but I don't remember exactly where it went.
Alabama read it and I think hit him as he threw it. It was something like that.
So, I mean, that was another thing. The O-line, I don't think, played super well. They just haven't handled like stunts and blitzes super well. And when you've already got a hobbled QB, that makes things worse. Yeah, I mean, it was a cool. I don't mind a flea flicker at all in that spot. You're kind of hoping Bama is like, well, they got a hobbled QB, so they're probably going to commit to the run game. Why not on like super early try and catch them off guard? Like, that's what people need to understand. Missouri was never and will never go to Alabama and be able to dictate the game physically and just impose their style of play. Alabama is more loaded on each side of the trenches than you, and they always will be. So you got to kind of get a little cute. You got to try and mix things up. You got to try and get a few breaks to go your way. You got to try and just use that element of surprise. You got to get crafty. You can't just run the ball 80 times against Alabama because you will not beat Alabama doing that. They are better than you up front.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting you say that because to me, other than that flea flicker try and then the 2 deep shots that they took that missed, I didn't really see that. And I mean, again, it kind of boils down to Cook, but I don't know. I thought the offense was pretty stale even when he was out there. And, I think you're right. They were obviously missing that explosive element. I think with the way Carroll played, you could have really saw them do something running the ball if you had Nate Noel to kind of balance that and give you something to rip off a bigger, outside run or whatever it was, because you're using Carroll as this power back and he got some things rolling. So, I mean, it was just missing for me. And then obviously Pine came in. He just, man, I was trying to rank that in my head of worst quarterback performances I've ever watched. There were, I'd have to really rack my brain to see, we've seen some, we've all seen some stuff in the NFL. Shoot, Deshaun Watson's first 5 weeks of the season with Cleveland. It was pretty awful, but this was, he's just not good. FBS standard is not there for him. And Kenny, I like your take with Jamal Roberts. I like Josh Manning too. I think Josh Manning's going to be a fun part of this offense, longer term. Let's touch on the other side of the ball a little bit, because Payton, you mentioned they played well, and I like that take because I also think this defense was at the very least trying, and then I think it boiled down to some fatigue. You have to be on the field all the time, and Alabama was just able to eventually give things up. But to me, I mean, there was one throw that Jalen Milroe had. He had a receiver wide open and beat whoever the corner was, and then Marvin Burks, and Milroe barely overthrew him. Other than that, I didn't really see too many opportunities there that Alabama didn't necessarily take. I thought they did an okay job kind of taking what was given to them, but I thought Missouri's defense was largely fine in this game. I'm curious what you guys thought. And the other guy I'll note, Johnny Walker came alive in this game, 2 sacks. That was pretty nice to see.
Yeah, they played inspired early. They definitely looked well prepared. I really did think they played pretty well in the first half. Johnny Walker, that was easily his best game of the year. Again, it just boiled down to they realized the offense was just not going to be able to get anything, and they rolled over. And I mean, I don't blame them for that. You can there is a little more nuance to talking about how maybe that speaks to a little bit of a culture issue that they get that defeated that easily. I'm not really interested in having that conversation. They watched the one guy on the team in Brady Cook, who you can confidently say was kind of a galvanizing leader, go down finally, just couldn't go anymore. That's going to demoralize any team in the country. And when you're in Bryant-Denny, already just absolute hell to play in, not much you're going to be able to do. I mean, the offense wasn't going to give you any support, so eventually it's just going to lead to you folding. And that's what happened in the second half. Would they have eventually, if Brady Cook had played it, would they have eventually broken a bit in the second half anyways? Probably. I do think Alabama eventually was going to get theirs a couple times on offense. They're just too talented not to, for the most part. But I mean, to me, it seemed like it was pretty obvious that they just didn't have any hope, and there was just no point in really trying.
My only thing, you mentioned him, Payton, Nicholas Deloach. I got to give him his flowers. He had the highest defensive grade in this game at 73.1. His coverage grade was 81.1. That is impressive for a second-year guy on PFF. He played 40 snaps. He's starting over Toriano Pride still. And some people don't know this. I mean, he came in that class of 2022 as a wide receiver, or 2023, excuse me, as a wide receiver. So, I mean, he switched positions. You've seen it before with guys that try to do that. Jamarian Wayne, who's kind of bounced back and forth. But Nicholas Deloach has really come risen up in his second year. So I've liked what I've seen from him.
Yeah, he's been good. I mean, Payton, was there any like good you took away from the defense other than them rolling over? Like whether it was individually. I mean, you mentioned Walker. Kenny mentioned Deloach. I've been still liking what I've seen from Corey Flagg. Or feel free to also roast Trevez Johnson for being the first player in college football history to probably should have drawn a targeting penalty and still managed to get run over for a touchdown. That was insane. He deserves his 24.5 tackle grade. That dude stinks.
No, I mean, nobody, I think, other than Johnny Walker, really stood out super, a whole ton to me. But nobody, really, until the second half, I thought played badly. It was just, and I've already said it 100 times, I don't think that would have gone that way if it really had been Brady Cook still out there and healthy. It is what it is. The season is effectively done for now, so they get a bye week at a good time because, it is going to be on Drinkwtiz to kind of somehow rally the troops and see if you can pick up a couple more wins. And if Brady Cook, if he's able to come back, maybe you look at that and say, hey, we can still go out and win 9-10 games. That's still a win. But that's going to be on the coaching staff. If you don't have Brady Cook the rest of the year, I think it's probably going to look pretty ugly. It's just kind of tough to analyze at this point.
I think asking a question about Drink is fair here. What did you guys think of some of the stuff you were seeing from him in the game? Whether it was barking at the refs, he had a weird incident where he was talking to, I think it was Jahad Campbell on Alabama, about, there was the words that were read off his lips were like, oh, if we had our quarterback, it'd be much different. I'm just getting sick of all this stuff. I don't know. It's hard to pin the blame, a ton on him for preparation because, like Payton said, it was hard to tell how much they were even prepared without their quarterback. But I don't know. These semantics just get more infuriating by the week when it doesn't help you win, and it just feels like it's, he's paying attention to the wrong things, and once again getting battered on the road is something we've seen from him, and having no faith that he can rally guys up. I just didn't like some of the stuff that I was seeing from, his sideline antics and whatnot.
Yeah, I hate to kind of give a super bland post game report, but I don't find myself caring that much about it because in this game, again, once Brady Cook went out, nothing mattered. Literally zero mattered in this game. No players looked like they felt like they had any chance to win. I don't think the coaches really believed they had a chance to win when that happened. Drink was barking at the refs about the punt not being flagged for advancing. That's just never going to get called, but you're a head coach. You kind of gotta lay into the officials a bit. That's just kind of your job. I don't really know. I don't want to judge that video too much because I would like to know Drinkwitz's side of the story on that one. If that's actually what he said. There have been times where I've been incredibly frustrated with Drink and the coaches this year. The Alabama game really was not one of them. People can whine about it, them getting destroyed on the road or not looking prepared. I don't know what you're expecting, with Drew, with a D2 level QB out there, just no real belief in him. It's just not gonna look good no matter what coaching staff is on the sideline. So I really didn't care that much about Drink's sideline decorum this time around.
I think it's more for opposing fans too. They already have just a goofy thought about him. He's admitted it. There was a good story about ESPN about how he just really leans into it. He doesn't look like a football coach. He looks like a banker. And just a lot of these things. A lot of people see it. Even going back to the Tennessee game last year, where he told Josh Heupel he stands on business. And it's a lot easier probably to tolerate for some fans when the team is winning. They probably don't care as much. And I think it just kind of depends on your age and your belief and all that stuff too, as well. Just your thoughts around the game and the seriousness of it. But I think it does come down to the results on the field when you kind of do that stuff. And to me, it doesn't really bother me. And I thought Jack Lang, who's a Missouri commit, kind of said it well. It's a lot of that stuff kind of, blinds people from the good sides of Eli Drinkwitz and how personal he is with these players and how much they mean to him. So I think that's always just something that kind of comes back to me is there are a lot of positives still about his character, but a lot of people just kind of run with the goofiness or the stuff he just says in press conferences.
Yeah, that's fair. I think just the word you can use is bleak because the outlook really just depends on someone's injuries going forward for Mizzou, which is never fun. I mean, that's not a way you want to continue your season. You should be able to find a way to make things work with a backup QB or, at least, like try and get there, have something to hang your hat on. But, the defense can probably give you an A+ game. And if you've got Drew Pine out there, you're just not going to win. I don't really care who it's against. So I don't know. Kenny, do you agree with Payton? Do you think this team can still get up to 9 or 10 wins if Brady Cook is in fact healthy?
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have a very tough schedule remaining.
Yeah.
Look at the games on here: Oklahoma, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Arkansas. I mean, those are all games they should win with Brady Cook at the helm. I just don't know. I mean, you look at the games that they played in the SEC. They squeaked out a win against Vanderbilt, but then they got blown out by Texas A&M and blown out by Alabama and barely beat Auburn. I just don't know how this team kind of stacks up against those teams. South Carolina's played tough or close games. It might be a loss on the road, no matter who the quarterback is, even though Brady Cook has won in that environment before. Yeah, I think we'll know a lot after this Oklahoma game, in my opinion.
We'll know a lot before, too, just if Brady's, good. Man, something I was not expecting preseason is that Missouri's best win of the year might be against Vanderbilt, which is, just kind of remarkable, with where that program's been. Almost beat Texas. That was good. But yeah, it's a struggle. I really hate. I think I agree with you guys. Like, I think that I find all that stuff interesting just because I enjoy the drama, especially of college football. When you see coaches doing certain stuff, discourse. I'm getting sick of the Luther Burden stuff that I keep seeing about Mizzou wasting him. I think Payton talked about it well with what's kind of gone wrong there this year. And then in the same vein, you have Drew Pine throwing him the football. Of course, you're not going to pass it to him. So all that stuff's ridiculous. But yeah, it's just a really brutal time. And I think you guys are both right. It's hard to say, hard to feel confident about much or know really what's going to happen until we know the status of Brady Cook, which to me foundationally just feels bad. Like it shouldn't all have to live or die with your quarterback, I guess is the point that I'm trying to make. But, oftentimes it does. And that's just, I guess, how it goes. But I don't know. Any final Bama thoughts? Any thing you're looking forward to not having to watch Mizzou this week? Just you can live in bliss maybe. You got basketball coming up soon. We're gonna talk about that in quick hits, but yeah, it's bleak. It's bleak, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, if you are just looking forward, Mizzou is going to be in a bowl game whether they win out or lose out. They have that 6th win already. But I mean, if you get to that bowl game and you're 6-6 because Brady's out for the year, I mean, I don't really see any reason to march Drew Pine out there like that. Kind of, I've been a big advocate for take your bowl game seriously, but like if you're playing in the Liberty Bowl against like Texas Tech, throw Aiden Glover out there or something. I don't care how not ready or not he is. He's your only other scholarship QB. You gain nothing by letting Brett Brown, Tommy Locke, or J.R. Blood go out there.
If we see Tommy Locke and get real minutes of game action, I think I will cease to become a fan. That would be
So I mean, that's just you kind of got to just adjust your expectations, especially if Brady Cook is out for the year.
Yeah.
If Brady Cook is out for the year, I expect them to lose out. I expect them to lose whatever bowl game they're in as well. But I mean, you can at least like throw Aiden Glover out there and just be like, let me see something. Like, because like Drew Pine is, I think everyone knows. I think Drinkwitz and company know it's not going to work. You might have to try and make it work for 4 weeks, but when you get to this essentially exhibition game that will have ungodly amounts of opt-outs, you might as well see what like a guy that you actually thought was worth giving a scholarship to. You might as well see what he can give you.
I totally
Do you think
agree.
there's a chance? Sorry, Kenny, go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree. I also want to see him on road trips.
I was
I mean,
gonna
at this
say,
point,
yeah.
like it wasn't with the A&M crew when I was at that game. I did not see him in that group, and then there was no mention of him being on the sideline warming up. I think that's a little bit silly in my mind. I know there's probably a limit on how many guys they can bring. They're bringing three non-scholarship quarterbacks, and I know they have more experience. They've been around the program a lot longer. Aiden Glover is probably not ready to play at Alabama on the road, but still, I mean, it's good to have him on the team, like with those guys in that situation. I have no idea where he stands in his development. We don't hear anything about that. And I remember he got like some positive reviews in camp during the summer. Of course, that was a couple months ago. But I think it's also just a positive to have these guys around, have them ready just in case. Because at this point, like Payton put it pretty well. He should probably be playing in that bowl game.
I mean, even I don't care if he's the least ready out of the four. Like,
Yeah.
if he's the worst of the four, I really don't care. You don't gain anything in the bowl game by throwing Brett Brown out there. I don't care if he's paid his dues and earned reps in camp. You don't think he's worth giving a scholarship. So why should you even bother giving him reps over a guy that you thought was worth giving a scholarship?
Because he realized the grass wasn't greener, Peyton.
Yeah, I understand.
He went to the transfer portal and he came back.
That's great. And look, I'm glad he's probably a really great scout team guy, really great. Like, I'm sure the coaches, I'm sure adore him. If he was a good football player, you would at least give him a scholarship. And maybe he probably right now is a better quarterback than Aiden Glover. But if it's 6-6 in the Liberty Bowl with like nobody playing, throw the 3-star freshman that you thought was worth giving a scholarship to out there. There is no point in not doing it. Also, the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. Aiden Glover's from Memphis. It's a cool story.
Oh, there you go.
The game's going to be completely meaningless regardless. It does not matter if you win it or not. I don't think there's any real logic, no matter how ready or not he is, to having him hold a clipboard in a meaningless exhibition bowl game.
Yeah, I would like to hear that question asked, whether it's this week or the next. Like, where is he at? Just like with his development and how he's been looking. What has he been doing?
Yeah, people should not construe this as Kenny or just anyone on this podcast saying they need to see if Aiden Glover's ready to start next year.
No.
He absolutely is not going to be.
But see where he's at.
Yeah, he would probably play in that bowl game and really stink it up, man. I'm being honest. He threw 2 passes in the spring game and one of them was picked. But I really he's a dual threat QB that you thought was worth getting out of high school. I don't need to see Tommy Locke. I don't need to see Brett Brown. I really don't need to see Drew Pine if that's what it comes to.
Yeah. I'll add one more wrinkle to that too. I know there's probably some people that want to see a postseason win no matter what it is. And you want that postseason one in the win column on your postseason record. But this would be a huge game for development for a lot of these guys, not even just like Aiden Glover. If you're expecting opt-outs at the wide receiver position, in the secondary, on that defensive line, there's a good amount of guys that are going to be fighting for starting jobs next season that need these reps now. You've seen it the last couple seasons as well. Going back to even a bowl game in DFW a couple years ago with Brady Cook. So it's just something that you want to keep moving forward with. Of course, I mean, that game was pretty close in the end against Army in the Armed Forces Bowl. I don't know how close this game would be. I have no idea who they would even be playing or what bowl game would be, but it's it's optimal. It would behoove the program to get these guys opportunities.
That was a good word, Kenny. That was a good word. We're not letting that go unnoticed. Behoove. I agree. Like, Kenny, I remember you say Brady Cook, that triggered a memory for me because I remember watching him in the Armed Forces Bowl. I was like, this kid's good. And he can do some things. He wasn't perfect. But like if Aiden Glover comes in a bowl game and has, I don't know, a rushing touchdown or can do a couple of things, then sure, it just gives you optimism. And you're exactly right. It gives the kid confidence. So yeah, it'd be wasteful to not do that.
And look, in terms of where the program is, where they were in the Armed Forces Bowl versus where they are now. I mean, and even where Aiden Glover is not close to where Brady Cook was development-wise back then. Right. But I agree with you 100%, Kenny. Like, this is a situation where I don't think, I was always of the belief Mizzou should not take the Armed Forces Bowl or Gasparilla Bowl lightly. Like, they should take it seriously because they haven't won a bowl game in 10 years, and like just getting a win and getting above 500 at the end of the year would mean a lot. This year, that's not the case. Like this would be a case where Mizzou is going to relish the chance to have those extra bowl practices and probably like loathe having to play the game itself. But getting those extra reps for guys like Aiden Glover, that matters more to the future of your program. Because even if Aiden Glover is able to develop into just like a good backup quarterback, that is probably, considering what has come of a lot of Drinks QB recruits, that is a pretty massive win. You had, like Kenny touched on it earlier, Sam Horn was like the marquee 4-star, and he almost like he was pushing Brady Cook for the starting job last year. Then he gets hurt this year, and that really kind of sucks because I think this would be super valuable time for him to be playing if Brady Cook is done for the year. Gabari Johnson didn't get to play with the OC that recruited him. He left. Like Tyler Macon was the worst Elite 11 quarterback ever. Aiden Glover, like if you could just get him to be like a serviceable backup for you, like that is a win. So, and I mean, getting him game reps like that is, I think, very valuable. It's kind of hilarious. Like this has turned into the main topic of the Mizzou-Alabama game, but that kind of just shows like how little I really was able to take away from that game because it was just not a game in the second half.
No, this is a much better conversation to have. Kenny, go ahead.
I got two last things. First thing, we talked about him a lot. Do not expect the world from Aiden Glover. I will say that.
No, he will probably be bad.
Yeah, just like don't go into this game thinking like, oh, you know, how some people are kind of thinking about how Drew Pine could step up when Brady Cook was struggling. It's not going to be like that. You just need to give him opportunities. You need to see if he can take it. I mean, he has another guy that's going to be biting at his heels this spring, and Matt Zollers.
Yeah, my question was going to be, can we get him eligible for the bowl game? Any way we get him healthy and playing?
Yeah. so yeah, my last thing on that too with the eligibility. Heck, I mean, Aiden Glover won't lose a red shirt if he plays the rest, at least one snap in the rest of the season and into the postseason. So that's also a good thing to think about.
Yeah, bowls don't count anymore. They don't count. You can play the bowl game; it doesn't count. So
yeah, I'm not expecting Aiden Glover to play any of the regular season unless like it just gets untenable, like with Drew Pine, like he goes out there and throws 6 picks a game. But I think everyone in the world knows Drew Pine is not going to be the starter next year. I think Drew Pine himself probably knows that. I wouldn't expect him to be on the roster for the bowl game even. And there's no reason to give J.R. Blood, Brett Brown, or Tommy Luck, or any other camp body you have out there snaps. Like Aiden Glover was a guy you looked at in high school and decided, yep, that's going to be the guy we offer our scholarship for the class, like for the QB of the class for. See what he can do. Some guys like really respond to trial by fire. I don't think Aiden Glover would do well, but give him a shot. There's no point in giving the other guys a shot.
Yeah. Can I have another name to look up for? Because I wanted to end this on a fun notice. Who would you guys like Mizzou to go after in the transfer portal? Because I got a name. And
yeah, we have no idea who's going to be in there right now.
No, in theory, it's a fun hypothetical, Payton. Just put your fun glasses on.
Like Marcel Reed took over for Connor Wegman. If Connor Wegman is one that enters the portal, I think Mizzou should hand him a blank check. I know he's not much with the QB run game, and I know that in college you really would rather have guys that can run. But Connor Wegman would be able to look. Mizzou's not going to be very good next year. They are probably praying they can get to 8 wins next year. They're losing so much. They're losing their top 3 receivers. They're losing both their top running backs. It is going to be a retool year. But if you can get a guy like Connor Wegman to come in, kind of right the ship, just give you a Band-Aid until hopefully Zollers is ready for you, like to play and take over that role. I think that's a big win for you. I think Wegman can come in and do that.
I got another name for you. It's Walker White. They should go after Walker White.
Yeah.
Auburn can't develop. If he can't take Payton Thorne's reps, might be a Might be a concern there. Yeah, I like all your guys' takes with Hayden Glover. I think it's a reasonable thing to talk about with where we've seen Drew Pine at. I think you've also made it clear that it's also very reasonable. You're not expecting the world from the kid, but it would be incredibly silly to not give him reps over a walk-on that you know is not going to be a future piece of your program.
A walk-on grad transfer. Like
Right,
if J.R. Blood starts a 6-6 bowl game, like what is the point? Like there's no reason to really care if you win. I love bowl games. I love bowl trophies. I love anytime that Drinkwtiz has said if there's a trophy we're playing, like we're gonna play to win. Nobody's gonna care if you lose that game. Like just see what you have. Like let the kids play is literally the phrase I would use for a bowl game like that.
Yeah, throw them out there. Do you know how off the charts I'm going to be if Josh Manning has like 106 receiving yards and a touchdown against Texas Tech? I will be singing his praises. I did the same thing with Marquise Johnson. I'll do it again.
Giving up on Marquise Johnson.
No, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. I saw a photo after the game. It was him and Ryan Williams. Do you know what I saw in that photo? 2 future first-team All-SEC receivers. That's what I saw. I have no way giving up on Marquise Johnson. Yeah, my propaganda does not cease. All right, we're loyal in the Knowlton household.
Does Marquise Johnson have more than like 50 receiving yards this year?
I don't think he does. I don't think he does. He will when Matt Zoller's throwing him the football. Or what's the thing?
Oh, he's got 124. He's averaging 9 yards a catch.
That's way down from his. What was it, like 46 last year?
Yeah, something crazy. I don't know.
I actually do. I like Blood and I like Josh Manning. Yeah, Josh Manning's good.
Daniel Blood. They had J.R. Blood and they didn't even let him throw to his brother.
Josh Manning's good. Yeah, I think he'll be fun. Ooh, look at that, 147 yards, 14.7 average. Very satisfying metrics there for Josh Manning. All right, that's enough future quarterback talk. We should have a good show for you guys this week for the bye. Talk a little more like general Mizzou, general college football stuff on Friday. But yeah, obviously no game to preview, and then we pray to the heavens that Brady Cook is injured and that Mizzou can still salvage something from the season.
It's not injured.
Sorry, did I say is injured? Is not injured. Is not injured.
Yeah, we should also, I do hope Brady Cook comes back and they can win 9 or 10 and get in, the Citrus Bowl or something. Because they'll get a good team. That's a game you want to win. That's not a game where you go in, thinking, let's just let the kids play.
I don't even know if we did the full update either, but Brady Cook apparently now also has a hand injury in addition to the ankle. That's the update.
Yeah, that's, and he got evaluated on Sunday. They don't have to put out an availability report, and knowing how Drink and Co operate, we won't know for sure what happened to him until next week. But
the funny part about him leaving the game, he went to the Alabama locker room to get evaluated. He didn't go to the visiting locker room, which is pretty funny.
Oh, interesting.
It's because there's an MRI machine in the Alabama locker room.
Yep.
I don't want to go into I don't want to eulogize Brady Cook's career yet because he could come back, but I do very much hope that's not the end of his
much just did it.
Career. Well, I hope
we didn't eulogize him.
We just talked about his
what
career. We talked about what if he's done for the year.
Yeah, we pretty much just talked about what was going to happen once his career's over.
Yeah,
but
assuming it is, which
we'll
we
have
don't
a good,
know, but
we'll have a good Brady Cook eulogy show when the time comes
on Friday.
Yeah, let's hope not.
When he gets ruled out. Honestly, I think we should stick to that. If Brady Cook does get ruled out for the season, whenever that happens, we should just do a show and we each bring our 3 favorite Brady Cook memories and just
we'll have candles lit.
Yeah,
every room will be really dark, even darker than mine usually is.
Yeah,
and we'll prayer circle.
Exactly. I like it. All right. Good future quarterback talk. I think we salvaged a recap, not salvaged a recap, but segued a recap in a good direction that avoided talking about that mess in Bryant-Denny. I did see a good coalition of black and gold at the game and around the stadium, so I'm proud of the traveling Mizzou fans. Obviously, that was kind of a fun road trip, even if the game wasn't good. So for those who went to Tuscaloosa, I hope you at least had some fun, at a cool SEC road environment. But that's my last message from that game. Let's move swiftly onward. See how Mizzou recovers in the bye. We'll finish the rest of this show with quick hits. Okay, quick hits time. We'll finish out the show. Kenny, you have Ken Sports Shorts. I think you were gone last week, right? So we did our required Barstool quiz, but it does not look like we're doing that again. What do we got?
Yeah. So I thought about we could do some positives and look back on some recruits, especially with Williams Nwaneri playing in some more games recently. I found it on the Rivals site, looking back at the top recruits in the Rivals era that went to Mizzou, and we'll do the top 6. It looks like, yeah, we'll do the top 6, which includes Williams Nwaneri. I'll have you kind of rank where he is, but I think it's a good spot to just start at the top. Who is the number 1 recruit in Mizzou football history according to Rivals.com?
Dorial Green Beckham.
That's correct. He was ranked first nationally, first of his position, and first in the state of Missouri.
That'd be real weird if he was ranked somewhere lower than first in those other 2.
But yeah, one's across the board. Number 2 is kind of an easy one. I'm just going to give it to you already. Is Williams Nwaneri, who's ranked number 3 in the class of 2024. Moving on, though, to number 3, who is the player?
Luther Burden.
Correct. Ranked nationally 4th in the class of 2022, first in his position and first in the state of Illinois out of East St. Louis. Moving on.
Those are all the 5 stars, correct?
Illinois.
There's more 5 stars.
No.
These are all 5 stars. Okay.
One player is not a 5-star.
Okay.
The last player is not.
Oh, well, 4 is Terry Beckner.
Zoller's in there too.
Yes, Terry Beckner Jr. Was a 4-star, ranked 36th nationally in the class of 2015.
Yeah, because he's a 5-star on Rivals. I forgot about him.
Beckner was the 4-star.
Really? And he was number 4 or number 5?
I thought you were saying he was 4 as in the 4-star. Yeah, he
was.
Oh,
okay. I thought he was a 5-star. So there's one more 5-star.
2 5-stars. For
what we've had 4 names already.
So I did 6 players,
including Williams Nwaneri.
Yes, including Williams.
Oh, okay. I see now. So we have 2 more names.
Can we have the class year, or is that too easy?
2009 and 2008.
Blaine Gabbert
is correct. 5-star, ranked 14th nationally in the class of 2008 at a Parkway West in Ballwood, Missouri.
One of them's got to be either an offensive lineman or maybe one of those good like linebackers, like a Justin Smith, or
it could be like a Shane Ray or like a Coney Ely. I don't think it was Coney Ely, actually. I think Coney Ely was developed.
It's 2008 or 9.
9. It's 9. It's 09. So it would have been that like good era. Was this a good player, Kenny?
Yes.
Did he turn into anything? Yes. Alden Smith?
It was definitely not Matty Mock. Matty Mock was not a 5-star or a 4. He was a 4-star, but he wasn't this high.
Whoever they're from?
He is from St. Louis. If it helps, he did take the JUCO route.
Oh, Sheldon Richardson. Thank you.
There it is. Sheldon Richardson was ranked 4th nationally in the class of 2009. Was a 5-star at Gateway High in St. Louis, Missouri.
I always remember that because of the JUCO part.
No, this was his actual ranking, and then he came to Mizzou from the JUCO route after. So he did 2 years, or did a year, and then came to Missouri.
Wait, where did he start? He started in JUCO, or he started somewhere else?
Yeah, he started in
JUCO, played 2 years in JUCO, and then went to Mizzou.
Where did he go? Where did he go to JUCO?
It's a good question. It's not actually on his page.
I don't know. I forgot about this. Bad lore knowing of me.
I knew he went to JUCO. I'd never bothered to really remember the one.
College of Sequoias in Visalia, California. Home of the Rawhide, the single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. Oh, excuse me. The Arizona Diamondbacks.
We weren't gonna check you either way, man. Not gonna lie. We weren't gonna say either was wrong. All right. Next things we have. Payton, hit the button. Hit the button, Payton.
Yep.
Good quiz, Kenny. That was good. Tigers in the Wild. Back to you with this one.
Yeah, Jack brought it up earlier. Eli Drinkwitz was caught on the broadcast, possibly saying if he had his QB, it wouldn't be like this. To Jihad on Alabama. This account,
Jod
Coach
Campbell.
Jod Campbell. Yep. Coach Pimp Sanderson, excuse me, said, "What a clown." So we talked about that for a little bit in the football segment. But Ennis Rakestraw, you're my Tiger in the Wild, for watching this game. This was cool. And it's all bundled up in his bed watching this game. That it might be his couch. He's just got a blanket on him. He was watching this game, but he quoted the post and quoted the video with "We know #Mizzou."
Yeah. I have no idea if that's what Drink is actually saying. I can't read lips. It's not a good look if he said it. I also just don't care, man. I really can't get mad about anything that happened in this game after Brady Cook went out. I mean, the first throw Drew Pine had was just the dumbest interception ever. Did anyone care really after that point? I sure did not.
The worst pick was the worst pick was the one that he somehow managed to overthrow and overlead Brett Norfleet on like an out route. I don't even really know. Like, I watched that throw like 5 times. I don't even know how you do that unless you're like me out there. I don't know how that's even possible. He was like, it was
not
just
one of his
route.
picks were anyone's fault but his, and they were all terrible.
We should let Ennis come back and play quarterback. I don't even know what to say at this point. Oh boy, Tiger in the Wild, Payton. Get us some good vibes
my
here.
Tiger in the Wild, we were stretching, man. There was really not a lot happening. Jordan Elliott is playing Sunday Night Football, if you want to count that. But I went with Anor Boateng because you know what? He's not really like a full-blown Tiger yet. He hasn't played a real game, and he did something real cool. He played the saxophone, the national anthem on the saxophone before Mizzou's exhibition against Lincoln. Pretty cool. Everyone said it was really good. I'll take their word for it. I didn't listen to the whole thing. It sounded fine to me. I just think it's cool that their blue chip basketball prospect. Yes, I'm saying blue chip, Kenny. I think it's cool that their blue chip basketball prospect can also play the sax.
I am totally going to do the thing where I download this clip and I put Careless Whisper over it. That's definitely going to happen at some point and get tweeted. But this is very cool. Not to take anything away from Anor's skill. I think we knew this too. I feel like we learned this in the offseason. Also, Jordan Elliott at the time of recording right now has 1 tackle for the 49ers, if you want a Jordan Elliott update.
There you go.
Yeah, I love this. Hopefully we'll have a little more talk for Mizzou men's basketball in a minute because they played an exhibition game. Don't think we weren't not going to talk about that. But in the meantime, I'll kick it to the pros. I managed to snag the one quick hit, which was Tigers in the NFL, which was Tigers in the Wild, and actually play related, kind of. My Tiger in the Wild, Sean East, who is on the South Bay Lakers. He was not drafted in the G League draft by the South Bay Lakers, but he was traded there. He was taken 3rd overall in the G League draft, which is pretty cool. Should get a nice run. Him and Bronny backcourt maybe in South Bay. Because I know he's going to play.
LeBron is not letting Bronny go to South Bay.
He's playing 2 ways.
He's in South Bay right now?
Not right now, but he's going to, after their road trip, he's going to do both. He's going to go up and down. So Bronny will play with Sean East.
Good for Bronny, paying his dues.
Yeah. So that's your backcourt for the South. And also South Bay Lakers. They love their Missouri Tigers. We had Demoy Hodge over there last year. So now you got Sean East. Keep the pipeline going.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Lakers just love Sean East and bringing him back. Too. I mean,
they couldn't stand the thought of losing him.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't see that he was traded. I saw that he was drafted by Cleveland, which I thought would have been really cool too, because he's friends with Benny, and Benny is a Cleveland guy.
Yeah, that would have been fun. I actually have the full details, if you like, of the trade, and I'm going to read them because Payton, I think, will appreciate this. I have to find it for a quick second. But he was traded. The Lakers had to trade into this draft, and Payton, to get the 3rd overall pick, or they first got the 5th pick, they traded Colin Castleton for it, one of your favorite
Oh yeah,
former
let's
centers.
go.
So
Goodbye,
here was how
Colin.
the Lakers got Shawnees. They traded Colin Castleton's returning player rights to the Long Island Nets in exchange for the 5th pick, and then they went and traded that 5th pick. Hang on, I'll find it. They went and traded that 5th pick to Cleveland for the 3rd pick and Chandler Hutchinson. No, sorry. Yes.
I was going to say they gave up Chandler Hutchinson in the 5th pick, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
To get the
Wow, that's a lot. That's a former Bull. I thought Chandler Hutchinson had retired. But
yeah, and apparently not.
It's a shame to see he's still around.
The top 3 picks in the G League draft were Sean East, Landry Shamet, shout out Wichita State.
Who is like 30 years old now.
Yeah. And then the number 1 overall pick was Matt Ryan, and it is not the Matt Ryan you're thinking of. Matt Ryan played for, I believe, Vanderbilt and I think Yale, and then Chattanooga in college, the basketball player.
Yeah, go Mox.
Yeah. There's your G League lore today. So yeah, Sean East. We'll have plenty of Sean East talk-wise on the South Bay Lakers. I love that he's going to be able to play with Bronny. So there you go. Headlines. Next segment. Kenny, what's your headline this week, as it is every week in this fair college football season?
Yep. AP Top 25 college football poll is out here on Sunday. And the Tigers, the Missouri Tigers, are still ranked 25th, receiving 44 votes. The only team not to have over 100 votes. Vanderbilt had 41, Memphis had 34, and Tulane had 28, just in the hunt. Your Missouri Tigers will remain ranked through the bye week.
Your number 25 Missouri Tigers, and it feels real good.
Do you think there's a world where they fall out of the top 25 after the bye week, after not playing a game? Because that would be kind of funny.
If Vanderbilt beats whoever they play, yeah.
Yeah.
they drop out.
Mizzou got punished for winning games. It's going to happen.
Right.
They didn't win a game or didn't lose a game.
That is still, it's going to be a footnote in the season. That was still kind of BS that they got dropped, and Alabama only fell 6 spots for losing that game to Vandy, and Mizzou got dropped for winning it. That was a little dumb, but yeah, you know
what they say, beating Vanderbilt is worth only 3 more spots than losing to Vanderbilt.
That is what they say. I have heard that before, especially losing to Vanderbilt when you're the number 1 team in the country, but I digress.
Yeah.
Any other AP poll notes from you, Payton? Colorado is the one for me. They're 23. Watch out.
No, who cares anymore? It's over. Who cares? I won't be paying attention the rest of the season. Former Missouri Armed Forces Bowl opponent Army is number 21 still. That won't last because they have to play Notre Dame. But good for Army, I guess. A&M, I still think is, if you could scroll up, Kenny, I don't care about what Kansas State did. A&M at 10, I think that's still too low. I think they're better than BYU. I think both Notre Dame and TAMU should be in front of Tennessee. I understand you can't really do that at this point. That would probably be a drastic overreaction, but I think both of those teams are better than Tennessee.
Kenny, any AP poll takes this as your headline after all?
No. Kansas State.
Why were you circling Kansas State then?
Because Kansas State barely beat Kansas, who's won 1 game this year and only fell 1 spot.
2. They've won 2 games.
What was the second win?
Houston.
Remember,
oh, okay. Sorry, they've won. They beat Houston and then a non-conference opponent. My bad.
Can you scroll up a little bit, Kenny?
Lindenwood was the non-con win, if you're curious.
Jesus. I am going all in on the number 13 team in the country, the Indiana Hoosiers. They are my team for the rest of the year. The Signetti Show. I'm very excited for their game against Ohio State in a couple weeks. They're probably going to get killed, but who cares?
Indiana would have to really screw up to not be in the first ever 12-team college football playoff, which is pretty crazy.
Yep. There's a good chance they go 11-1 and they might host a game. Which
I hope they enjoy Signetti while they have him, because he will not be there long.
I am praying to God it ends up being like Indiana LSU in Bloomington or Indiana Bama in Bloomington or something in the first playoff. It would just be so great. Did you guys see they gave out it said like shirts that said Signetti and it was in the Marlboro font with the logo to the
that was fake
last game? Oh, was it?
No, I just made that up to see if you would fall for it.
I would have. Somebody else showed it to me, so I didn't fact check that. But
Yeah.
I
No, I
hope
did
it's not
see that.
fake. I hope it's not fake. And maybe it is.
I don't
But
believe it was fake.
even if it wasn't, or even if it was, someone should make that shirt because it looked very cool. Yeah, I'm all in on the Signetti. The Signetti. So there you go. There's your AP poll for the week. Not much changes in the top 5 either. Miami now. Payton, what's your headline?
Yeah, I'll give a little love to the Mizzou volleyball team. They've had an excellent season. Dave Matter tweeted this out. With today's 5-set win at Oklahoma, Mizzou volleyball extends its SEC best W streak to 6 matches, and now they sit alone in second place. They are at 6-2, which is not alone because Kentucky is also 6-2. I guess they're saying. I guess he's saying like they have the tiebreaker over them. They do also have the better overall record. They're 15-5 and 12-7. But yeah, I mean, Mizzou is like pushing for an SEC title right now in volleyball. How about Don Sullivan's squad?
Yeah, I mean the turnaround of that program has been impressive because like when we were in school they were pretty good, and then had some turmoil with the coach and kind of seemed like it was falling off, and then they hired Sullivan. It's been great. I forgot about Texas with Texas joining now because they've been a volleyball powerhouse, so that'll be a tough catch. But love that for Mizzou. See if volleyball can keep the run going, make a nice deep tournament run. My headline, speaking of other Mizzou sports than miserable football, Mizzou men's basketball builds early season momentum in exhibition rout against Lincoln. Shout out my friend Grant Salzman from the Columbia Missourian for that headline. While Mizzou was getting blasted by Alabama in football, the basketball team was playing an exhibition against Lincoln. It was the first chance to see them if you were in Columbia. It went pretty well. I mean, they obviously crushed Lincoln. It's Lincoln Community College, so 90-45 was the final score. Some stats from it. Mizzou forced 26 turnovers in this game. 15 of them came from steals. I know Anthony Robinson, I think, had 6 steals. So yeah, it was a good performance. And then Caleb Grill and Mark Mitchell were the two standouts. Mark Mitchell had 22 points, Caleb Grill 20 points, and shot 5 of 6 from 3. And then I think the only other note I had was that Tony Perkins did not play because of precaution. They were just keeping him out for safety purposes. But yeah, good I guess exhibition. You want to win those comfortably when you're playing Lincoln. So I'm so excited for basketball.
Me too. I will say also lovely jerseys as always.
Yes.
I looked at the final box score. Obviously this wasn't streaming or even on radio anywhere, so I don't know really how it all looked. Standout, like just things that popped out to me. Mark Mitchell, 2 for 2 from deep, 7 for 9 from the field. That is big. They need him to kind of be that kind of guy this season if they want to kind of bully their way back into tournament contention. So really good step for him. Although he did only have like 2 rebounds, which was a little surprising. For the most part, I think you got to be happy they hit 10 of 19 from deep, which is really big. Caleb Grill, like you mentioned, was excellent. One thing that I think is going to drive people a little mad, they were out rebounded in this game.
Oh, geez.
Now, look, there is something to the fact that they forced that many turnovers and just that many steals and that many misses that where maybe you didn't have as many. But considering the rebounding issues the last few years, I think we really would like to see an uptick in that. So I'm not going to like go crazy yet, because if you make up for it a bit with just like that turbulent defense that we kind of saw like year one under Dennis Gates, you'll probably be okay. But again, I think the main things to take away, Mark Mitchell being good is huge. Caleb Grill finding a shot is really big. Yeah, I think it's pretty much everything you wanted to see from that game. Trent Burns made the most of his pretty limited minutes as well.
Friend of the show.
Yep.
I don't know. I might just be accepting that Mizzou might get out rebounded a ton as long as if they can just force turnovers. You need one or the other to me. Either be a team that forces a lot of turnovers or win the rebounding battle. I mean, both would be great, but if they're going to have good perimeter defense, that's still a massive step up from last year because that was not existent, as were most things because that team was horrible. But yeah, as long as it's not historically bad, you can only go up. So yeah, I'm excited for basketball. November 4th, we're getting there, fellas. One more week. Mizzou, Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Monday show. I mean, Monday show we'll have, I guess, I don't even know what we're going to do because we're going to have to do we'll have a basketball preview you have to listen to before the game that day.
Yeah.
Very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. All right. That's all I have, gentlemen. Payton, do you want to talk about the Bears now or do you want to tell Joe?
Why couldn't the bike stand up on its own?
I've heard this before.
It was too tired. What's the community note of the week, Kenny?
That was good. I was thinking I had to do something with a kickstand.
That's what I said.
Yeah, community note of the week. Going back to AP here, AP style book. Yeah, I think a lot of people have seen this tweet already. It was posted on Friday.
4.6 million. In fact.
Yeah, AP style book said a team losing a game is not a disaster in quotes. Home runs are homers, not in quotes. Dingers, jacks, or bombs. Players score 10 straight points, not 10 unanswered points. If a football team scores 2 touchdowns and the opponent doesn't come back, say it never trailed rather than never looked back. In short, avoid hackneyed words and phrases, redundancies, and exaggerations. And the community notes points to 3 articles where AP used a disaster for sports loss, unanswered points, and McGuire hitting or finishing with 70 dingers. That's a tough community note to see. I understand where they're going, saying not to use these ones moving forward, but it got 1.7 thousand replies, 2.8 thousand quotes and reposts, and 2.6 thousand likes, and was bookmarked 532 times.
Yeah,
I feel like the one in particular, like unanswered versus straight, I just feel like that's incorrect usage that they're talking about there. Like unanswered is different from straight. Like that's 2 different things.
Yeah, straight could be
Yeah, like a player could score 10 straight points for his team, but that doesn't mean they were unanswered. Like, but a team can score like 10 unanswered. Like it's just, I think it's incorrect, like the way they're using them.
Tell this to the guy who announced the Maryland game and went, disaster! What a bad idea. Yeah.
But yeah.
Love roasting AP for bad grammar. Or for not good style. Bad community note. Sorry, I skipped that, or I went skip that and went straight to joke. Do you have another joke, Payton?
Nope.
No, you don't. All right, let's end the program. Hope you enjoyed that future quarterback talk because it's going to probably increase. So we'll see, where we go from there. But maybe Brady Cook can come back and we can have a hopeful good end to this season. But ugly against Bama. If you went, hope you enjoyed the trip. Enjoy the bye week. Enjoy some time off. Just watch some other college football maybe. It's Halloween. Go trick-or-treating. Do something. Take your mind off of what happened last week. Do your best. But we'll be back Friday. Like I said, we should have a fun show, possibly a guest. So stay tuned for that. But until then, we'll see you next time.